All things in due time and all things with more money.
Gold is always a problem. They think you build the thing, you stopped, and there's always more to do.
Mm-hmm. Still, hey, there we go. I've gone ahead and applied some quick labels to everything.
Mhm.
So we have you a nice place here in the residence. It's, I suppose quaint for now, but I hope it'll do, do for you.
So he stays, and he just seems to be observing the grounds, giving suggestions. But he hasn't, aside from the stonemasons and others that came in originally, he hasn't offered any extra help. Although he did bring his own drink and brought food and all that, so he's
Mhm.
he didn't just it's depending on your graces. He was good enough to bring and also to do a little bit of trade as well. You see around
Yeah.
here, the dwarven and human um, caravan. They set up a caravan and they're selling food and sort of little shop there slash market with your permission, of course. And so they're doing brisk business with the locals, especially people are coming in and the workers and the like. So it's not just that he's being helpful. It's also he's probably going to make some coin along the way as well.
Mhm.
About a day or so later, uh, a group of elves show up, led by this lady right here, a red-haired elven woman. Um, and
Yeah,
they
on
seem
Blood
to
Street.
be they're wearing mostly green and gray. Um, anybody speak elven?
Good question.
I don't believe I do.
I do not know.
Nope.
No.
Too dumb.
Yeah.
Small brain.
That's why we have an ambassador now, everybody.
Uh,
Oh, wait. Do you, Bearcat?
No,
Oh, okay.
I am small brain.
There we go. Like the rest of us.
Yep.
and they're looking at and they're keeping a very tight formation right into themselves, and they're looking around. And in fact, they actually wait outside here. They don't come in. The guard sort of hail them, and he steps forward and says, "We would like to speak to your lord and master. He would have us."
I think at that point in time, Hugh is on the wall.
Go for it.
He just peeks over and he's like, "Oh, your hair is really pretty. I'll totally get kicks for you. 1 second."
He's sort of, well, actually, he only hears you see her, but she doesn't see you. She only hears your voice because you're short, right? So
Yep.
you got to peek over. So it's like she tilts her head and says something in Elven to her companions. But
With that, head down, go to Kix. Kix, there's a pretty lady here to see you. Cool red hair. Also,
Oh,
you know
I
that
think I'm expecting her.
you know that the gazpacho thing in the courtyard?
The cold soup? Wait, no, you mean the building.
Yeah. Can I use that as my house?
I don't see why not.
Cool.
Well, time to go greet people at the gate. And Kix will go out there, and of course, he'll just announce himself up the top and say, "Evening! I'm Baron Kix, the Shield."
my lord, I am Leandra Bloodstreak, speaker for the Wood Elven clans, your neighbors, as they were.
Ah, wonderful. Come on in, raise the gate, and make yourselves at home.
They come in, and again, they still stay in a tight group, and you notice that there are, they're wearing mail, and they're armed, all of them, swords, not shields, but swords and bows and arrow and bow and arrow. And they're looking around, carefully. She clearly is a leader, and she says, "So it's like we have been curious about this place for some time. We have rumors from the city that you were setting up shop here."
That's right. This place was long abandoned, and since then, the Lords of Greyhawk have seen fit to grant control of it to me.
Hmm. Well, if I were to forward, what are your intentions in this region?
Well, I would hope to protect the people to the north from those to the south. They
Mhm,
continue to raid, and they've been a problem ever since since last season, really.
mhm.
This is going to be a solid strategic point in order to keep everyone safe.
I see. And how do you how are you going to maintain such extensive fortifications, my lord?
Well, and Kix is, he's always, at a little bit at attention, always like strong and proper. He lets down his shoulders a little bit at that, goes, well, that's a bit of a complicated question. Would you like to have a drink over that one?
Very well. And she turns over to the others and says something in Elven you'd understand. Two of them come with her. The
Mhm.
rest stay somewhere around here. So I guess you're going here to the residence. So
Yeah, we're just gonna go to the residence, sit down the hall, maybe the dwarfs around, whatever.
Mhm.
But we'll just sit down at a table over next to the fire and just kind of say, well, as far as maintaining the area, I'm thinking maybe a few farms in the region, perhaps a little bit of trade. I think I've been pitched that maybe we could set up some sort of inn out here of some kind. Which, I mean, I suppose people could always just camp inside the courtyard, but they probably pay for an actual common room. And if this place makes enough money to maintain enough force of presence, then it should be effective.
Well, it is in my experience of my people, that once humans and their allies settle an area, they tend to expand rather quickly
Mm.
and, shall we say, voraciously. And
Mm,
I
wouldn't be
noticed that,
fair to say at all. No.
we have a lot of wooden buildings here for the moment.
Yes, that's right. I believe it was easier to just throw a roof on top of the construction that already existed than to try to mine up even more resources and cut more stone.
Yes. Well, that's one of my concerns, really. In the past, we've had somewhat fraught uh, negotiations with the city of Greyhawk.
Hmm.
They believe that they can harvest as much wood from the forest as they see fit. We disagree.
Hmm.
I saw coming in that you had someone was already racing a barn as well and farms nearby.
That's right.
And again, that requires quite a bit of woods. We're not opposed to the idea of harvesting some at the edges of our domain. However, we will not accept reckless exploitation of the local uh, resources, as it were.
Of
Um,
course.
we not
You're
only
our neighbors, and I'd hope friends too.
we not only depend on the woods as our place of living, but also provides a form of protection. The Orcish hordes try to cut through the woods in order to either attack our homeland of Selene or the domain of Greyhawk. And having the woods there allow us to maneuver and counter their movements more effectively. We would not be so effective if we were to fight in the open ground, as it were. Not how we're trained or raised.
I
So
understand.
there's not only, you know, cultural considerations, but also practical military ones.
Hmm.
I would propose the following: that you accept observers uh, to any and all parties that are sent to the woods to log, and that we might have a veto, as it were, on quantity and quality. In return,
Mm.
we would guide the woodsmen and loggers to newer growth trees. Those are sick, or maybe a few of them might be special qualities and the like. Tending to the woods as one would tend to a garden, is always important for the health of it as well. Know when to let it go wild and know when it can be prone, I suppose.
Of course, it's your home, and I would defer to your wisdom on it. And I would no sooner break into your home and steal these older trees or that which nature deems important than I would go to Narwhal and steal their roofs and walls.
True enough. Hmm.
And I suppose for the time being, while we settle all of this and make sure that we at least have a system for us to make sure that there's always an observer and make sure that we appease any of the traders that will come by and no doubt harass me next. You're more than welcome to stay here as long as you like. We have a room here in the residence for you and any others who wish to stay.
Oh, that'll be fine. We will retire to our own camp. I do warn you that you're going to get a very interesting visitor pretty soon. We saw them on the road to here.
Oh boy.
Of a very, shall we say, aggressive personality.
Oh. I might need backup for that one. I appreciate the warning.
We have dealt with with them before.
Mhm.
I would be curious to see how you deal with them.
It'll be an exciting and interesting learning experience for us all, I believe.
Mhm.
Ah, well,
This is happening during the morning. In the early afternoon, someone else shows up, and basically, it's a small platoon of men, all humans,
yeah.
led by this individual. And he proclaims loudly, "In the name of Lord Mastrin, I ask to be welcomed in these halls for negotiations."
Before we get into this mess, while
Mhm.
the elven woman was leaving, what
Mhm.
she would have seen would be a panther and a large change cat running around and playing very aggressively, tiring themselves out.
Well, the change cat is. You have a separate panther?
No, I'm the panther.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It took me a
Does
second to
have the
figure out.
wild shape ability.
Yeah, yeah. It took me a while to like. She looks at it with some curiosity, but says nothing. Right. And apparently she does say something to another of the elves who has remarked on it, but they basically kept their respectful distance. Basically. They don't.
Yep.
They don't. Their curiosity has not gotten the best of them as of yet. So this individual shows up. He's waiting by the gate, and he basically has there are 9 total, 9 of them, and all seem to be wearing mail, except he's wearing some kind of bandit armor.
Mhm.
And he's waiting in attention, rigidly so.
Yeah. At this point, I've probably done at least 2 things. First is go and talk to Bearcat and inform them of who I've talked to so far this morning, and of course invite him to future talks because the next person is going to be exciting. We need to be on the lookout. I trust you to be a good and gracious host and be waiting there at the gate.
Right. Well,
Do you
In
need
the-
any other assistance or no?
You're invited to, but Braith, I would understand if you don't want to sit around either. I have no idea who's coming.
For that,
okay.
I'm
Everyone
sorry.
is invited. It's just I'm just naming particulars as well.
In the future, I would prefer if you had notified me of their arrival when they arrived. But considering that you've already talked to them and you managed to not fuck things up, I suppose it's all right.
It's been a bit of a busy morning. I meant to tell everyone.
This one, I believe, is going to be much more difficult, though.
Right, which is why I need a system of someone as gracious and well worded as yourself.
Our first objective is going to be identifying why they're here.
Hmm.
Now, the Lord Master and whatever his name is, however you pronounce it, he could be a kind of rival, or he could assist us. It's not really certain, in my view. As to why he has sent a full uh, squad of soldiers, possibly knights, it could be intimidation. It could be a military aid type thing.
Mhm.
Just be very cautious while
Oh,
speaking.
undoubtedly. Well, when he arrives, you may greet him.
And then I'll
And
go up
so
to the front
yeah.
when the guy comes around.
Yeah, he's staying outside, just like
Yeah.
and the elves have sort of parted, and they're somewhere around here. They set up a small tents and stuff like that. They're not going to stay inside the keep.
Yeah.
So he's at the gate, standing in rigid attention, right? And he's been there. You notice that some place back here outside of the map, there's in fact a horse, and so they're they brought supplies because it's so they basically he's getting off his horse and walked to the gate, and he's waiting.
All right. I'm going to approach him. Is Kix following me, next to me, or just inside?
I'm probably inside, and you'll bring him to me.
Okay. So I'm going to approach him, and greet him respectfully,
Mhm.
and ask him what his name is, because I don't know.
Yeah, he says when he looks at you and you're wearing your turban, it's like, oh, a foreigner, and a Bakulinish one as well.
That is
My
correct.
name, my name is Sesk, Savinat Guest, knight in the service of Lord Masprin.
I see.
Take,
And
take me to your lord now.
may I ask why you have come to our newly established region in search of Lord Kix?
That's between you, myself, and your lord. Go on, fetch him.
Well, isn't he a pleasant person?
Yeah. Well, I would like to inform you that I may speak on his behalf, but I will come bring him, since you're so insistent. I'm gonna go. Exactly, did he want me to bring him to Kix or Kix to him?
It's to him.
Okay, I'm gonna go get Kix.
All right.
Alright, yeah,
I'm hearing
he's
a lot of
not
commotion
very
out
nice.
there.
He's
Oh.
not a good guy at all.
Ooh.
So
Well, and he didn't say what he wanted either, so I suppose we have to go and speak. Well,
and
best
he's
of luck.
probably not going to be very respectful. So just
My expectations are lowering by the minute.
try not to get insulted. Gonna bring him out.
You want
How
backup?
could he insult someone as great as I am? Anyway, so I will go out and announce myself and go, "Greetings! I'm Lord Baron Kicks the Shield."
I'm gonna be
Your
standing just behind him.
your grace. And he takes out but carefully, slowly, he takes out a scroll and hands it to you. A message from my lord, your grace.
Message. Thank you very much. I'll go ahead. I'll take it. I'll read it.
Mm-hmm. And you hear on this voice was like, he actually can breathe. It can.
Am I around at any point in this or no?
If you want to be, yeah. Unless
you're wherever you want to be.
In fact,
Even
Break, you
casting
remember
bird.
this guy because you remember when Lord Mastrin sort of walked out of the party, off and Buffy. This was one of his bodyguards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have my eye on him, but I will not do anything at the moment.
And you clearly notice that the men that he's with are heavily armored and disciplined, right? They don't fidget too much. They stand more or less in attention. they don't lock their knees because that will probably make that they eventually will lose consciousness, right? So they're more a parade rest, but they're still very much in, ready to spring up to do battle if need be. The message eventually is a very cordial, very belabored message saying, Lord of Greyhawk, my name is Lord Mastrand, as we are neighbors and friends. It's diplomatic, but it's it drips with contempt. Like half of the stuff is explaining to you your own role in all this.
Right.
It's like, oh.
And we expect you to be subservient to our whims. Yeah.
No, he doesn't say that.
Yeah.
He says that he expects things like, preparing the way for future cooperation, but also that respective realms should be respected and, avoid any confrontation. I mean, it's all over the place, but he's trying to assert his dominance without saying it
directly.
Yeah, without saying it directly. And all the while, Sesk is waiting, and he's actually almost as tall as you are, and kind of tries to look down at you, down his nose at you.
Yeah,
waiting.
Kix is reading this letter, and he's like a little nonplussed by all of this. He's like, yeah. And Kix is very much trying to find the point in the letter. What is it actually asking?
It's actually it's a letter of introduction. And normally this would just be a letter of introduction, stating essentially that he acknowledges your presence here, acknowledges that Greyhawk has given you a commission, right? A commission in this territory, and then half-heartedly he waits that in the future you might be able to cooperate facing the threat of the south from the south. But for the meantime, that he is very much occupied with his own building and construction and repair, and he will not be available for any talks. And if you have any, shall we say, anything to say, any message you want to send, then his servant, i.e. Sesk, will be more than happy to take your message back. Essentially, this is sort of a opening statement of intent, of acknowledgement and intent. But besides that, it doesn't offer almost anything and doesn't say much of anything.
Right. So at the end of it, Kix is going to go ahead, start curling it up, and sort of look over at over at Sesk and go, well then, I think this clarifies matters just well enough, don't you think? You're welcome here at my home. And I believe you have a number of men that will need housing the barracks, is that correct?
Yes, Your Grace.
Very well then. Welcome.
He steps in, right? And he looks, at everything, he looks like, yeah, whatever.
He's not impressed, obviously.
Yeah.
Hugh will
but Braith can make a insight check.
Yeah.
While Braith makes that check, Hugh is walking by, going to get get food for the night, and he has just a little cat on his shoulder. He's like, "Be back soon, boss. Just getting some food. Gonna check with the elves to see what's okay."
When you're coming out, the man he steps. I was like, and he puts his hand on his blade, and the other men sort of going, I was like, "What kind of pet do you keep here, Your Grace?"
Oh, that's Hugh, one of my finest companions.
Pleasure to meet you.
You keep vermin around?
There's not a more honest or trustworthy individual here.
Yes, I would say something about my dog, but I don't keep him out in the open like that. That's what.
Excuse me. I purposely interrupt him. Excuse me, sir. I believe you are rest weary from the road. We actually have some room in the barracks currently for you and your men. If you please follow me.
Okay, he's gonna make. You have your holy symbol out and about, right?
Oh definitely. I know who he is. I rolled a shit insight, but I know of the god, so.
He's like, he looks at you. And he smiles, because that lopsided smile. It's like, interesting company you keep, Your Grace.
World is full of interesting people indeed. I did not get your name, sir.
I gave it to you, Lord.
Yes, I should be gracious. Braith, allow me to introduce. This is Salvador Sask. He's a knight in the service of Lord Maestrin. He'll be staying with us here in case we need to send a message to our allies.
Dr. Sesk, if you'll please follow me.
Yes, Braith, I believe I can entrust this to you.
And once you say that, that's when he follows Brave.
This guy is a ray of sunshine.
Oh, that's
he is.
Before I go on my hunt, I would confidently walk over to the where the elves have their camp set up, and just be like, I actually want to check in with you guys real quick. I was gonna go do some hunting to get some food, but I want to check what's okay to get and what's not.
When you approach them again, they sort of brace themselves, but she says like, and let's see if she actually notices your holy symbol.
He has it. He's wearing he's wearing fine clothes because he has like 3 pairs at this point to go hunting, and he does have his symbol out.
And she sort of again, her head tilts her head. It's like, and may I have your name?
Absolutely. My name is Hugh. I have recently earned the title of the Arrow of Alona.
That's so.
It is. I got permission from the organizations in both Narwhal and Greyhawk. Not the government people, the actual Alona people. Really cool. Nice lady in Narwhal. Really, and an old man who has a lot of real good stories.
Interesting. Alona has always been a companion to the Fey courts, to Corellian and our gods. And you said you're going hunting.
Absolutely.
She motions to one of her 2 guards, like, and says something in Elven. You have no idea what she's saying.
No idea.
And they look at her, they look at you, they look at her again, and she goes like, they shrug. It's like, one says, Master Hugh, please lead the way.
Absolutely. Do your best to keep up. As my cat jumps down, hop on.
Yeah, they keep up, but unless you're going full throttle, in which case they're
no.
They're bipedal. They can't run that fast, even if they're elves.
Hugh is just happy to have people with him, even if they barely speak. He's happy to have people there while he hunts.
I mean, the thing is that coming, they barely know coming. And they don't. They try not to get in your way, but you see that sometimes they're making comments. You can make an insight check and see, the tone of their comments.
And as we're moving along, additionally, I'm looking for any sort of druidic signs. Like, it's very much procedural, respectful hunting.
Okay, let me see what you got.
11.
I mean, they seem to be more commenting on what you're doing, your technique, but they don't seem to be mocking you in any way, laughing, covering their hands laughing, but they also don't seem to be, I guess, overly impressed either. It's just, just sort of a bit of a running commentary on how you do things, but they don't interfere.
Perfect. The process is efficient, using Hunter's Mark, striking so it's not multiple blows to take anything out. Like, it's all very, very proper, not damaging anything hunting.
Okay.
And if I come across any sort of like nests with like young that need to grow or anything, I do leave a mark in Druidic.
Not nearby. Most because the tendency is that if you have any settlements building up, many animals will try to stay away as possible.
100%.
So, vulnerable young are usually not left near human settlements. Animals may not be intelligent in the stricter sense, but they knew how to avoid trouble as much as possible. So that's a thing. So you come back from the hunt, and she asked you to. She asked you to join them once you delivered the food, wherever you're going to deliver it, for dinner. Because she's curious about you and how can you became a cleric and a druid.
Yep.
Although she doesn't seem to know the difference between the two of them. Yeah, she basically uses the term holy man or and he actually used a term in common, which is sanctified soul, which you've never heard before, which is kind of weird.
Oh yeah. When Hugh hears that phrase, he's like, I don't know about that. But I got weird dreams, and then I felt things, and then I saw this horned horse in my head, and now I know I'm gonna meet one. But I have this love for nature. It's a beautiful thing that's like, it's like a meal. It has to be balanced. You can't have too much dessert, or else the rest just is off.
I see. That's a very interesting way of looking at things, Master Hugh. And you wish to find a unicorn?
Yes, because I want to make friends and make sure people are treated good. And if I'm friends with a unicorn, people will have to be my friend because I'm super cool.
She kind of laughs, like, unicorns. How can I say this? They're very special beasts. But I don't know if they would bring you the kind of fame that you're looking for, perhaps.
Oh, I'm not looking for fame.
Although I do understand that the unicorn is holy to the Lady of the Forest. Perhaps that's why you're seeking it?
That may be why that's what the vision was. I just know that there's lots of people who have a lot of stuff, and then lots of people who don't have stuff. And I think the people who don't have stuff need more stuff.
I see.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting way of looking at the world.
And I'm not just going to give it to them. They have to do their part and, take care of it and help earn it. But beyond that, they need an opportunity. That's all I was given. And I raised a spider and then found a cat.
A spider?
Yeah, my old friend. His name was Webford. And if you look at my staff, it's carved inspired by Webford.
Right. And when you say spider, you see some of she doesn't do it, but all the others sort of, one of them makes a motion with his hands that seems like some kind of prayer or warding sign. But you've never seen it before, right? You've seen people do similar things, but never around you, and never, people sort of the quality of having to do with giant spiders, but particularly these elves. She doesn't seem to mind it so much, but the others do. Those that seem to understand. In fact, one of them does the warding sign, the other asks, and they sort of all repeat the same warding sign as this word goes around that you spoke of the spider. But she says nothing, but they're not hiding either, so it's pretty obvious what they're doing.
Yeah, ultimately, I'm trying to do what I think is good and what's good for the balance between, nature and people having little towns and the cities and all that, and everything to work together. I don't know if I'm doing it right or wrong, backwards, or any other directions I can't think of. but I'm doing it.
That is very admirable, Master Hugh. And I
Thank
wish you the best of luck in doing it.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. That is very much appreciated. Also, dinner was very good.
Thank you. So yeah, and so the night falls. The only people that share a meal with you, Kix, and the a-hole are the knight and the dwarf. And the dwarf takes a perverse pleasure at trying to needle the knight into goading him into every action. And you see him that as the night goes by, eventually he retires early. Because he's just he clearly doesn't want to start an incident. And says, "If you excuse me, my lord." And he gets up.
Of course. And I can only imagine, like, at the start of the night, Kix is, like, maybe just, like, a little bit subdued and, like, twitching a little bit. It's like, can't say anything. And slowly becomes happier and happier the longer the dwarf keeps needling him until he leaves. To the point at which when they leave and go, "So, you have anything heavy to toast?"
Ah, of course. The best. I have some whiskey I can share with you, my lord.
Oh, I'd be delighted.
And as he's pouring it in, he says, and he kind of, pulls a chair close and is like, "Listen, lad. That man is trouble."
Oh, trouble just listening to him.
Yeah. He's been, eyeing the fortifications. Basically, the reason I think he's here is just to spy on you. Well, as much as anybody can do, spying by just looking.
And just so that I remember properly, lessons. Maestrin was the very heavily dressed up man, wasn't he?
Yes, in
Yeah, I
black
just didn't see him on
armor.
like the Greyhawk NPC list, so I couldn't like peek at him and remember.
Yeah, I moved him because now he's also down here now. So
yeah, and Kix is gonna like sigh a little bit and go, "His lord's already said as much. He has no intention of well, treating us with the slightest bit of respect, dignity, and he may very well be interested in our backs."
Well, as I heard it, well, my friends back at Greyhawk, he is a follower of Hextor. And that bunch is always looking to conquer more and more territory. I mean, they don't call him the god of tyranny for nothing. The scourge of battle, etc., etc., etc. He might be just as dangerous and more dangerous than the orcs.
Probably all the more reason that we can't put up a continual defense against him. We have to wait until he strikes.
That might be a bit too
lest
late.
our good faith be misread and they strike even earlier.
I would argue that in situations like this, a good show of force is all that's required. After all, if he was interested in these lands, if he was capable of taking them, he would have been the one who taken the bandit lord that was here. But he did not, did he?
Quite true. I'm sure one or two of my companions must be itching for a sparring session of some kind. I'm sure they could learn a thing or two from each other. And Kix is gonna say with like a wink.
I would warn you against that, lad. Because if you humiliate him too badly, that might be the old excuse that he needs to defend his honor or whatever. I mean, I'm a big believer in honor myself, but what people think it's honor, it's misplaced in my experience, such as it is.
Right. Perhaps something subtler. Maybe Barricade would have a good idea on that. I'm too much of the direct type of person.
Well, you do have troops.
I do.
Join them. The drills and the like might be a good thing. Take your most experienced boys and girls and show them that it won't be so easy to take them down.
You're right. A joint expedition, then.
Oh no, just take them in the
Oh.
yard and show them the drills and all that.
Hmm.
Then he knows that you have capable troops under your command, then he'll think twice. And I'm sure he'll tell you his master about it, and that'll think him close.
Of course. Well, I think your words are wise, and as drunk as I am, I can still see it. Cheers to a possible plan, then.
And basically, most of the night, eat and drink and be merry, because tomorrow is another day.
Before the night ends, I'm going to approach Kix. Kix, where did you happen to place that message from the master people?
Well, I almost considered throwing it into the fire, but I think I have it on this shelf here. And he'll just pull it off of, like, his room shelf, hand it over.
Would you mind if I borrowed it for the night?
By all means.
I'm going to walk away, no other conversation.
Yeah. The last thing Kix is probably going to say, the less I see of that, perhaps the happier I'll be.
And I'm going to use my background ability and forge a copy of his handwriting, or whoever wrote the thing.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'm going to add that to a list. So, I should be able to make a copy using that handwriting. It may not necessarily be from him, but it's at least one of his representatives, right? Yeah.
And I think one last thing. Once he does his forging here, I'd probably call on Braith and meet with him a little bit before the evening is finally over.
Yep.
Okay.
Braith, good to see you.
Master
I was wondering if
Kix.
maybe you could do me a favor. I know you said you were going to train the new recruits, but if you would do me a favor, could you actually run the seasoned warriors through a few drills tomorrow morning, bright and early? I think it'd be best if they got up and running first before, well, keep the spearhead sharp,
If you wish,
If you
yeah.
on your own duties, I could handle the green recruits at a later time.
I mean, that's perfectly fine. I don't mind doing it. What does this have to entail? Because it feels like you're trying to do a scheme here.
Am I that transparent?
Yes.
We're also drunk.
I try, but yeah, I guess I am drunk. Thanks, Ghost Bearcat. Or just Bearcat enters in the room, puts it away.
Peeks in for half a second.
Kix is gonna say, I want to show that Sesk that we are not going to take anything lying down, and a decent show of force, I think, might dissuade him from any ambitions of his master. And while it would be maybe a bit too direct if we were to challenge him directly or spar or do anything of the like, I think just your history of command, your experience, and the experience of those soldiers combined might be enough to give him a good impression of what we're capable of. Whiskey hiccups.
I don't mind doing that.
Thank you, Braith. It'll put my mind at ease, and I'll wake up early enough to watch it too.
Real quick, did you actually think of a name for your troop yet or anything?
I haven't, because we've also been kind of continually going over what they are. But
as you've been doing it, I've actually calculated almost everything for them, so I actually put it in the Stronghold Forces thing.
Yeah.
The seasoned medium infantry apparently.
Defense Brigade.
The Defense Brigade. Oh god.
I mean, that's what's on the text there. I think someone had a good name earlier, and I can't remember who said it or what it was. So for now, they'll be the Defense Brigade, and by next time, maybe they'll have a new name.
Sure. All right, so I know what I'm doing tomorrow morning.
And Giggs is going to get some sleep himself.
So nothing happens in the evening, right? The guard changes and all that. And early in the morning, as soon as the sun rises, Braith is doing his battle drills. I mean, you're not hiding it, so clearly the Sesk and his men can see you doing the drill.
Of course.
They exchange some comments, but overall they remain relatively silent. You also get word that the Elven clan speaker has left, but said that she would be in contact in the future, herself or someone else, to arrange whenever you send parties into the forest, as a sort of a she also says in the message that she's not going to do it for everybody, but she reserves the right to observe them as they're doing it. Sort of a trust but verify kind of situation.
Okay. So Kix is just kind of putting that into his mind and maybe just writing a few notes to himself too to make sure he remembers.
As the drills are happening, a messenger comes in.
Roger that.
And it's a young boy. In fact, you recognize the young boy. Now he's 11 years old, so he's not that young as a kid, getting to his teenage years. And he is the assistant to Lady Yana Sadrian.
Is that me who recognizes them?
Yeah.
I tell the troops, hold moment, and I assume they all actually get in line in formation. I say to the young man, you must have been a long trip for you here, young man.
Have some water, sir.
Oh, yes. I actually take some out of my pack to give.
And he walks it down. I mean, clearly this kid hasn't, hasn't done heavy travel, because it's a couple of days, really. And he's not the only one. Actually, he gets ahead, and there's a group of other people that are coming in from Narwhal. Apparently they're just it's like, and they're just watching, and they also bring trade goods as well. So they ask, they said they have some goods to exchange, right? And basically the dwarf sort of takes it. Was like, I'll take out of this, lad. Oh, you can go over there, and we set up a little shop there. You can go there and set up your wares. It's like, and they go like, oh, fine. They don't bring a lot, right? But they're more clearly. This is a sort of a small delegation from Narwhal to scope up the place, right? To see, what is what. And the young man, finishes the water. It's like, thank you, sir.
Oh. Just as he's finishing up the water, Hugh will walk up and just be like, hold on. Are you hungry?
My stomach's full of water, sir. I'll just take me a moment, yeah.
Oh, don't worry about that. Hold on. Good berry. He will walk up, put one in his hand. When you're hungry, eat that. It'll have you for the day. If you have too many, your stomach will feel way too full. And he'll just walk around handing out the rest of the good berries.
Right then. Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome.
And it's just a berry. He doesn't understand, how the magic works. He just pops it in his mouth like, oh, please don't berry it.
And then he feels completely satiated.
It was.
Is he okay?
Because he was just thinking it was just a berry, right? So, but when he eats it, he feels, completely full. It's like, I hits him right there.
Told you.
I'm fine, sir. I have a message from Mistress, sir.
Master Hugh, please bring our young man for the offer where he needs to go. And as I finish saying that, I turn back to the troops. I say, all right, formation 3, now. And they should know what that is already.
Yeah. And they switch, and you're changing since then. So basically, he has a letter, and wants to deliver it to. Well, he doesn't know who would be the one person, so somebody in charge. So he'll hand it to whoever he thinks, or you tell him to hand it to. Right. He's not very well versed in protocol and nobility and all that jazz.
I would assume it would go to Barakat or Kix.
Yeah.
Unless we're both in the same room.
We're just both chilling. It's like, you got any threes, Barakat?
Well, I do actually have something to show you.
Oh, well, let's see what we have today.
Normally, I would not disclose this, but it would impact your decision making in the future, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
I have a skill that is not normally used. And I'm going to pull out essentially like a reference document, I guess. That's
Mm-hmm.
the copy of it's basically just like the alphabet, numbers, whatever. Which is a copy of the handwriting, which is a match for the letter we got yesterday.
That's illegal.
Wait, that's illegal.
People can't just do that.
I
But
mean,
Kix is like just a slight little bit shocked. Like, oh, wait a second, I literally discussed like sneaking around. Oh gosh, I keep falling even lower and lower, don't I?
in the future, it may be required that we have to use this or something like it, depending on the situation.
Oh, it pains me to think about a situation where it would be necessary to deceive others like this, but Paracat, I trust your decision making, and it's good to know that at least you're already prepared.
I would not put it past your rival, I suppose we can call him now, to do a similar thing.
But if it's this easy to copy handwriting, maybe I should write as poorly as possible.
I don't think you should do that.
Oh,
Just don't.
I guess I should get better then.
Yeah, just. There are many ways to deceive people, and this is one of them, but
Mhm.
I would find it for us to better be prepared against him than, uh, you know.
Right, tyrant lord and all that.
Yeah.
Wonder if he would be even that deceptive. I mean, he sent someone to observe us, but that's barely anything. Maybe he'll just come in here and
Well,
slap us with a greatsword.
he could,
He could.
but he's also evil, so he
He's
could do
also
anything,
evil.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're both just playing in agreement of that fact, right? We have nothing to
Yeah,
base
he
this on
is.
other than his bizarre appearance
He
and worship of
wears
dark god.
pure black and red. Like, like,
right, he doesn't wear normal primary mix colors like I do, which is red and white. It's much better and looks better too.
he dresses like villains in stories.
I'd like to point out that your flag is also black and red. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but that's a flag. That's different.
Yeah, the flag can be whatever it needs to be.
Like,
It's about appearances. I think we're at least on the same page of that. He could do better if he wasn't just going to. Maybe he does just want everyone to think he's playing evil and nothing else.
either way, better to be prepared than surprised.
True. And when it comes to the sort of surprise Barakat, I know I can trust you.
Also, it appears we have a visitor.
Oh, right, there's a knocking at the door.
More like there's a kid standing there.
Yeah,
The
there's
door
just
usually would be open, unless you deliberately close it for some reason.
Yeah.
And he's just standing there like...
He heard everything. He knows too much.
Yeah, no, get up. No,
What Hugh did was he walked up, he placed the kid, and then was like, "Oh wait, they're talking."
Covers
gonna
his
wait
ear
here.
as the tail end of like he's definitely evil, right?
So there's
It's gotta
the
be.
kid and then Hugh, just both not knowing when to jump into the conversation.
Morning, Hugh. Send in the small child.
Absolutely.
Why is there a
Come
small
on, then, buddy.
child?
He's here to bring a message.
What do you have here today, boy?
Sirs, my lords, here, and he just hands the message.
Yeah,
It's
I'll
a
take the
letter.
message, I'll hand him a breakfast scone.
It's a letter from Lady Sage again, and basically in the message says that she is willing, if there's space for her to, she's willing to grow beyond the boundaries of Narwhal. And that she finds that the possibility of serving a lord directly, who can sponsor her research, would be most advantageous. So if she were to have her services, she would offer them. And basically, she would set up a shop. She'll be, in rules terms, she'll be an artisan, an alchemist, and she would give you discount on potions, and also can probably make arrows of slaying as well. She does say that her father, on the hand, is if you were to incur of her father's services, he is at the moment indisposed, doing some high level research, but
right.
no, this already has happened. This is after
Yeah.
the keep has been built, right? So you did the downtime. If you anything you needed to do in that time, you can do, Agar. So that was a time tip. So you can, you want to put it in, and we can see harvest the results as we're doing this one.
Yeah, well, we definitely will make sure you get your time. Kick's probably just spent all of his time managing this keep business.
Also, I believe that's also where you got your armor from Zigzag, right?
I'm not sure it's actually complete yet. I think it
think
required like 50 weeks for full plate. It's somewhere around 23 weeks now. It takes so long, help. It takes a long time.
So he's still working on it.
Yeah. During those days, Hugh would have just been establishing the connections he needs for his orphanage / prison reform program.
Oh God. I'm just imagining that we're gonna have like a cadre of like 14-year-old street urchins in battle now.
Spies, baby, spies.
Hugh is gonna become.
Well, that would require. Let me see. You can have spies. Actually, they are in the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just setting up the groundwork for when I actually do it.
All right.
Let's see.
For now, though, I'm going to go ahead and tell the child, it's like, you can take a seat. I'm going to get some paper and write a response, and you can take it back to her. And Kix is going to write a response along the lines of, like, I remember being friends with everyone in town, and I would enjoy your presence here, and of course acknowledge, like, her business interests and invite her to come if she wishes. I think we even have extended room in or around the keep for her.
Yeah. Eventually would take a creation of her workshop. Let's go and see if she what the alchemist entails. I've been working on that.
Oh yeah.
It's on page 83 for the audience. This is we're reducing strongholds and followers for all this. It's called a laboratory. Laboratory allows you alchemists to craft potions 10% cheaper and faster than normal per level of the laboratory. The alchemist is not a wizard or sorcerer, but understands the principles of magic well enough to duplicate their effects while making potions. The kind of potions alchemists can make depend on the monster organs you bring them. Remember, she already told you about, and you already used it up, but her father told you about the troll's blood. So that's an example of this. You get. So another example would be this is called Eyes of the Beast. Potions of invisibility to monsters. Uncommon. With the perceived eyes of a creature, your alchemist can make a lesser potion of invisibility. This is uncommon potion requiring a spellcaster of the third level. The potion just takes alone to craft. It costs as much as potion invisibility, reduced by the alchemist's crafting bonus, but it only grants invisibility and it's exactly the kind of creature the eyes where it harvests from. About dragons, etc., etc. So, and then we make the medicine checks. So if you go out to adventure and you harvest organs from different, mostly it has to be monsters, not just natural creatures. It says it right here, it has to be monsters. Then that would be it. So that would be that what she's offering.
I think looking at it, we basically pay to improve her, I think, but if she just comes in, she's level 1.
Yeah, just level 1.
Okay, that makes sense.
Mm.
Alright, so I'll go ahead. I'll finish up the letter. I'll actually go, so how do I use the ring? Oh, right. I just put it over the candle, burn my hand, wax, stamp, and give it to the kid.
Yeah, it's under artisan shop. Most artisans come with their own shop, which they set up for free, which starts at first level. You can pay to improve it based on artisan shop improvement table. This process takes 3 months, 1 season, and you cannot pay for more to speed it up. This maximum shop level is 5.
All right.
So you start at first level. If you want to go to second level, it will be 1,000 gold pieces.
Yeah. So it's on the table too for things that we can spend money on. And oh boy, do we need a lot.
Yeah, money.
Woo. And slowly looks like our cost per season, at least for the army, is somewhere under 50.